When I beat this game for the first time, I was not able to understand why so many people love it. I mean, dying over and over again because the game was clunky and unfair wasn't fun at all. For me, Dark Souls was only mid, but I got it wrong. It was only after replaying it twice that I managed to finally understand it. In my first playthrough, I made 4 mistakes that prevented me from enjoying this game. That's why in this video, I'm going to show you how I solved every single one of those and make the definitive review of Dark Souls 1. First things first, I started the game creating my character for this third playthrough, and I named him Guil. He's not even that ugly. Still, if you can create yourself in any Dark Souls, I have some bad news for you. Your mom was lying when she told you were beautiful. This time I chose the private as my class because I'm already a pro. And what could possibly go wrong? This game is not even difficult. With that said, we can finally begin. And what a great beginning this is. Because even though I told you that in my first experience this game was not really that good, I always enjoyed the first part of Dark Souls. To start, I don't really need to tell you that the opening sequence is fire. Quite literally. Everyone knows that the story of this game is really good. But let's be honest, nobody can actually understand it for themselves. Also, the Under this Island is such a nice tutorial area, isn't it? Here you learn the basics, like walking, moving the camera, and then when you notice you're fighting a giant fat ass monster that you can barely scratch. Wait, is that your mom? This place also summarizes everything we're going to see in this game. From traps to enemy spam, a lot of difficult bosses, but also a great level design, treasures and friends. Rest in peace, Oscar. So I killed this island demon to reach Firelink Shrine, which is one of the best hubs in the entire series. It just feels like home. Talk talk. Who's there? Roll Noah Zoro. What? Who wrote this script? I don't know much about One Piece, but one thing I know about that anime is that Zoro always gets lost. And when you first play Dark Souls 1, that's something that's probably going to happen. Because this game is almost an open world. Just for you know, in Firelink Shrine you have 4 paths that you can go. But there is only a single one that is actually doable for a new player. And the game doesn't really bother to explain it. To be fair, it kinda does, cause this NPC right here tells you that you need to ring
2 bells of awakening.
and that's all. So hear me out. If you go for example to New London Ruins, you will find out that you cannot even hit the ghosts here. You wanna go to Blighttown first using the master key? Well, those guys right here are going to take this club and just smash your head with full force. Oh, no problem, I'm just going left then. Good for you, cause you're going to see a half dragon that will poop on you until you're dead. And don't let me get started on the catacombs. This place is almost a canon event to any single Souls player. But if you decide to go in anyways and light a bonfire in there, you're just screwed. You're not going to be able to go back. Trust me. It's just better to start the game all over again. So you may assume that this is a problem. But using that brain of yours, you can actually stop and start thinking. If this place seems like the bottom of hell and I cannot pass through no matter how much I try, well, I guess I will not keep pushing. Let's go to another way. And that's the beauty of it. So if you persist, you will be able to reach the area that the game intended you to go. Which is actually one of my favorite ones in the entire game. Although the main path here is straightforward and simple to go, the game is not going to hold your hand for you to see it all. So you don't actually need to, but at least you need to try. Listen to me, this was where in my first playthrough I started using a guide to this game. But this was my first big mistake. Although at first it made the game feel less frustrating, once I finished it, I realized that it was not worth it. Because playing blind this game for the first time is actually one of the best things you can do. There are so many different secrets, different paths you can take in this game, and if you use a guide, this difference just goes away. So all I can do is tell whoever is watching this video that haven't played this game already that the best way you can do it is to experience it for yourself. I'm sure the game would be so much better for me if I've done that. If only I could erase my memory and play this game over again. Also, don't you worry if you don't see everything this game has to offer. That's why New Game Plus exists. You can thank me later or just leave your like and subscribe. So let's go back to praise Dark Souls. Everything we see here in the first areas is going to be reflected throughout the game. The gameplay is the same from start to finish, but it's really good. Dark Souls also have a lot of build variety, despite not being as much as the other games, but still it's really good. The progression system is also good, but not perfect. I like how you level up in this game, but I don't like how you level up your weapons. It's just too complex. You almost need to have a master degree to be able to understand it, but this is balanced by the great level design and areas of this game. At least in the first half. Almost every single one of them is different and fun to explore. There are a lot of secrets you can find and treasures you can get, different enemies that you can fight, and all of them are fun. So yeah, I could remain here for hours talking about how great the level design of this game is, but everybody already knows that. There's plenty of videos in YouTube telling the same thing over and over again. And they are right. The Undead Burg and the Undead Parish are two of the nicest areas in the game. But if that said, the game has some actual problems. It's not perfect. There are actually two of them that bother me to this days. The first one is not that bad. You see, this game doesn't have fast travel between bonfires from the start. So if you go to some place and rest in a bonfire, you're going to be stuck in there until you find another one or until you're able to go back to the previous one. When I first played the game, I thought that was a great big problem, but it's not that bad. It's not good at all, but it's not that bad. You see, the game has a peak level design in the first half because it doesn't have fast travel between bonfires. If it did, all the backtracking you had to do, all the connectivity in the world wouldn't matter. So it's something that works, for this game at least. But as I said, it doesn't make it something great. That's why in the second half of this game you have the option to warp between bonfires. So yeah, even the creators of this game knew that that was a problem. I just don't know why you can only travel to certain bonfires. It should be every single one of them. So for me in these days, the lack of fast travel in the first half is not actually a big problem. There is actually one thing that I feel like it would be better if they done. That thing would be making the dark sign work just like in Dark Souls 3, which means allowing you to warp to Firelink Shrine at any time you want. That would fix the problem of getting lost in the catacombs, at the cost of losing all your souls and humanity. I think that's fair. Now, the second main problem I have with this game is boss runbacks. In other words, when you die to a boss and have to walk all the way back to it. The Bell Gargoyles, for example, which are not even a boss that I feel like it's bad at any means, but the run back to it is awful. I've seen a lot of times people praise the elevator from Undead Parish to Firelink Shrine and the feeling of relief you have when you find the shortcut. It's definitely amazing, but for a shortcut, it's really long. It's about a minute long for you to be able to reach the boss after you die. And this is not even the worst one of them. In the second half of this game, it seems like every single boss has a terrible runback. Sometimes you have to face again difficult enemies in order to get to the boss. Sometimes you also have to go through lava or poison that deals cheap damage. There are places that you need to be extremely careful in order to not fall, and some places where you are required to take fall damage. So yeah, it's bullshit. It's terrible, it's horrible, it's the worst thing in the entire game and it's not even close. Nothing, I mean nothing you can say is going to change my mind. You can try arguing that, well, you can use the time that you are in the run back to think about your mistakes you made in the boss fight, and that's good. No, that's not good. If I want to think about my mistakes, I will do it for myself. I can quit the game and come back later, I can do a lot of things. But runbacks? No. You could also say that bosses in Dark Souls 1 are way easier than the games that came after, so it's necessary to have a difficult runback to make the game actually difficult. And this, for me at least, just makes no sense. If a boss is easy, doesn't always mean it's bad. You are already going to struggle through the areas in this game, and it's something when you're trying to beat the area, another when you will have already beaten it, but you need to pass through again in order to reach the boss. That's why runbacks are bullshit. For me at least, if it's more than 15 seconds, the runback already sucks. And From Software was aware of this problem, so in the next games they made, they tried at least a little bit to make the checkpoints closer to the boss fight. But that's enough talking about runbacks, let's keep moving. After defeating the gargoyles, I was able to ring the first bell of awakening. Also, as you can see, I finally used the Ziohander, which is one of the most talked weapons in this game, and that's fair because this weapon is really damn good. But also in this playthrough, I defeated every single one of the Black Knights and got the Black Knight Halberd. And this thing just breaks the game. It's too OP. Like, it doesn't even make sense. As for now, my objective is to get to Blighttown. In order to do that, backtracking is required. So here's where, once again, this game connectivity surprises me. Like, you can see in the distance, that's Undeadburg. If you go up this tower right here, you will get into it. For me at least, this was the shortcut that surprised me the most in my first playthrough. Like, I know, once again, the elevator in Firelink Shrine is also amazing, but this one, like, it was magical for me in my first playthrough. So just like that, we are back in Undeadburg. And now it's time to go down. I remember that when I first played the game, this was where I first started feeling like, oh gosh, this game is difficult. And yes, I was cursed by the basilisks, and that sucks. It's probably the most unfair thing in the entire game, like punishing you even after death just makes no sense. Then there is Blighttown, which is an area that I actually enjoy. But it was not always like this, of course. Just like anyone else in my first playthrough, I hated this area. This place has orcs from Lord of the Rings, dark goblins, fire-spitting dogs, and a dickhead. Also, good luck standing on your feet, because it seems like every single plank you step, it just breaks. Or it's just as slippery as ice. And don't let me get started on those moving platforms. So when I was exploring this place for the first time, I've died too much. And when I finally reached half of it, well, now I cannot go back. I got a bonfire and there is no way I could possibly give up and try something else right now. So I kept pushing and pushing, dying and dying over and over again. It was getting in my nerves. And this was when I actually started to feel frustrated with this game. Each time I died, I started going faster, but also dying faster. I was playing the game totally reckless. And this is my second great mistake in this game. Rushing too much. Just now I realized that this game is not meant to be rushed. It's meant for you to go slowly, stop, pay attention, and think about what to do. If you play the game like this, trying to enjoy as much as you can, it's just better. Even when I occasionally died, it was not as frustrating as before. I just take a deep breath to get calm, and then I was back to action. So that's how I was able to finish Blighttown twice as fast as the first time, ringing the second bell of awakening. Then there's Sand Fortress, which is one of the best areas in the entire game, but in this video it will be completely ignored, because right after that there's Anor Londo. It's amazing when you first see it, and it's probably the singular reason why I haven't give up of this game. I cannot even describe how great this view is. Just amazing art direction. This game is beautiful for a game that came out in 2011. And level design wise, this area is also really good. It's the peak of the first half of this game. Using everything we learned until now, passing through Anor Londo is actually not that difficult. Even the chapel part and the archers were no problem for me. But in my first playthrough, wow, they wrecked me up. Then there's Ornstein and Smog. And well, everybody that already played this game knows these guys. They are the hardest boss in the game and the main skill check to the second half of this game. So it's time to get good. Or maybe not, cause do you remember the Black Knight Halberd? The weapon I talked about earlier and said it's the strongest weapon in the entire game. Well, using it, I absolutely destroyed them. It was my third time facing them, so of course it was going to be easy. But like, this weapon made it a joke. So I guess I found the easy mode of Dark Souls. But in my first gameplay, it was not like that. Not even close. Those guys were definitely the boss that killed me the most. Still, it was nothing when comparing it to Millennia from Elden Ring. Now listen, I started playing Dark Souls 1 right after finishing Elden Ring and beating Millennia, because I was addicted to the Soul style. But as you may already know, those two games have a time gap of 11 years, and From Software have evolved a lot its formula. When you compare both of them, Elden Ring is just better. It's more polished, more consistent, the gameplay feels better, smooth, and flashier. So moving on from Elden Ring to Dark Souls, it's like moving from a Porsche with 900 horsepower to a horse that has, well, only one. This doesn't mean the first is better all the time, but the difference is clear. So this was my third great mistake in this game. Comparison. Through the whole game I used to think to myself, this game is nothing close to Elden Ring. Elden Ring is just much better. This game is trash. And as you can imagine, by doing that, my enjoyment of Dark Souls was lowered. But now I realize that it makes no sense for me to compare a game that came in 2011 to a game of 2022. So trust me, if you stop comparing too much not only on games but also in your life, things are going to be way better. In the end, the solution to this problem is to try to enjoy the most out of this game without comparing it to any other. Although that doesn't mean you cannot criticize it. For example, in this game, you cannot roll to every single direction when you are locked on. This makes the mechanic almost useless. It's just better for you to play with free aim. And also, I remember that I did not realize that in my first playthrough. So that was the main reason why the game felt clunky. Other than that, the gameplay is really good. And when you try over and over again, you just get better. It flows really well and you have to be strategic when fighting. Because once you attack, you cannot stop it. You will have to commit. And it's so satisfying when you master it. That's why From Software kept up with this style and we're improving it over each game. It's just great. Now back to the game, we find a big chest up ahead and get the lore vessel, which allows me to fast travel between bonfires. All of this is great.
I'm talking about the fast travel for crown's sake.
2 seconds later.
But it's also here where the infamous second half of this game starts. Listen to me, despite being worse than the first half, I don't feel like they are much different from each other. For me, there's only a single area in the second half that is actually pure bullshit, which is Tomb of the Giants. And some of the areas are actually great, but the reason why the first one is overall better, it's because the highs are higher and the lows are also higher. And then it comes my last great mistake in this game. This one actually I made in all my playthroughs, from the first to the last, and only after the second half of this game that I realized it was a problem. That is complaining. Each time something bad happened to me, like dying to an unfair enemy or an unfair trap, losing all my souls, having to do a run back once again, things that I absolutely despise just like anyone else, I was complaining all the time in my mind. When you think too much about something, that thing actually becomes real for your brain. So if you keep telling yourself that this game sucks, it's going to suck. And that's probably the greatest reason why I hated it at the first time. This alongside the other 3 mistakes I talked about earlier. It was only after fixing all of those that I was able to truly enjoy this game. It was worth it, cause Dark Souls is amazing. Each time I played it, it got better and better. And the ending also left me speechless, even in my first playthrough. Although that time I did not enjoy the game to its full, I knew it was something special. And that's Dark Souls for you. So thank you for watching, see you next time, and don't you dare go hollow.